Alright, we have the Indiana Pacers at home against the Milwaukee Bucks, but first make sure to like, comment, and subscribe and turn notifications on so you can get the same odds I have in this video. Otherwise, they'll likely be different. So the Indiana Pacers are the underdog with a 1.5 spread and a 100 money line. The Milwaukee Bucks are the favorite with a minus 1.5 spread and a minus 120 money line. The total points for the game is 230 at DraftKings. Let's dive into the stats, starting with the Indiana Pacers' offensive and defensive performance over the last 8 games. Offensive stats: the Pacers are putting up 116.9 points per game, and their offensive efficiency is at 119.4. That's solid there. Scoring consistently and efficiently. Their three-point shooting is decent at 36.65%, and they're taking a high volume of threes with a 40.98% attempt rate that shows they like to stretch the floor. Effective field goal percentage stands at 57.06%, a mark that puts them in a good position to score efficiently both inside and outside. In terms of ball movement, they're doing well with a 69.78% assist rate, meaning they're sharing the ball well and creating open shots. On defense, they're allowing 112.3 points per game with a defensive efficiency of 114.8, which is on the weaker side. Their opponents are getting a little too many easy looks, but they're holding their ground on the perimeter with a 32.9% three-point defense. Milwaukee Bucks offensive and defensive stats. Now let's look at the Milwaukee Bucks. Their offensive stats are a little different. They're scoring fewer points, averaging just 110.4 per game. However, their offensive efficiency is solid at 110.5, indicating they're making the most of their scoring opportunities. Their three-point shooting is a strength at 38.84%, and their attempt rate is also higher than the Pacers at 44.63%. They don't score as efficiently in the paint as the Pacers, with an effective field goal percentage of 56.74%. One area the Bucks excel in is assists at 65.23%, suggesting a well-coached offense that thrives on ball movement. On defense, the Bucks are stingier than the Pacers, allowing only 108.4 points per game and a defensive efficiency of 108.3. They're giving up 36.07% from three, which is solid but not elite. Their real strength defensively is in their ability to force turnovers, with a turnover percentage of 13.98%. This helps them get out in transition and put pressure on opposing offenses. Team comparison now, comparing both teams' stats. It's clear that the Pacers' offense is their strong suit, while the Bucks hang their hat on defense. The Pacers' offense has been more potent, with better scoring and a higher offensive efficiency, while the Bucks' offense has been more middle of the road in comparison. On the other hand, the Bucks' defense stands out. They're tougher in the paint and have better efficiency at forcing turnovers, which could limit the Pacers' high-scoring offense. The key here will be if the Pacers can score efficiently against the Bucks' defense, especially if Johnny's is on the floor. If he plays, he could be the difference maker, both offensively and defensively for Milwaukee. Simulations analysis. So what do the simulations tell us about this matchup? I ran 1,000 simulations using the last 8 games stats for both teams, and here's what they show. The Pacers' win probability sits at 61.33%, while the Bucks are at 38.67%. So the Pacers are the favorites in these simulations, despite being the underdog in the betting line. The spread based on these simulations is Pacers minus 4.0, which indicates they'll cover the spread more often than not. The total points, based on the simulations, is around 223.9, which is about 6.1 points under the DraftKings total of 230. So if you're looking at the total, the under seems like a reasonable bet. Breaking it down by team, the Pacers are expected to score 114 points, while the Bucks are projected to put up 110 points. The Pacers' efficiency is slightly better in these simulations, and while the Bucks are efficient offensively, they just don't put up the same scoring numbers, which could be a result of their slower pace. Spreads and rankings analysis now. Let's take a look at some of the rankings and spreads from ESPN's by PI and my models to see how they line up with what we're seeing. ESPN by PI rankings. The Pacers sit at 2.3, while the Bucks are at minus 0.8, suggesting that the Pacers should be favorites in this matchup. The spread from the by PI is about 3.1 points in favor of the Pacers, which aligns with the simulations. The My models also give the Pacers a slight edge across the board, especially in the home and away models, where the Pacers are favored in multiple categories, including 4-point favorite in the True D model and 6-point favorite in the PPGA 3 model. This suggests they'll perform better at home, and with Johnny's status uncertain, they may have an advantage even if the Bucks are at full strength. So, to wrap it up, the Indiana Pacers have been the more consistent offensive team, and they're favored in most of the simulations and rankings. The Bucks, on the other hand, are stronger defensively and have the edge in the half-court game, but their offensive inconsistency may struggle against the Pacers' fast-paced offense. With Johnny's status still up in the air, it's hard to know exactly how this game will play out, but right now the simulations and models lean towards the Pacers covering the spread and potentially winning by 4 or more points. The total looks a little high, so the under is worth considering as well. As always, make sure to check for the latest updates on player injuries and starting lineups before you lock in your bets.